Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. We take a look at the Bitcoin chart from an Elliott Wave point of view. Take a look at Fibonacci levels, we take a look at the key points where the price could reversing, and we take a look at the current wave pattern ahead of the Fed interest rate decision that's happening tomorrow. Of course, the whole trading world, the whole crypto world is looking at the Fed. In the end, it doesn't really help us with analysis at all. And I really dislike these days before the Fed interest rate decision, because it seems like everybody's sort of, everybody's life stopped and everybody's just watching, and then they want to see those numbers, everybody. And then, when you get these numbers, the interest rate decision, then people can carry on with their lives. So sometimes it seems a bit like that. In the end, and I often get the question, is the decision going to be bullish or bearish? Now, there is a clear expectation of what the market expects for the interest rate decision tomorrow. That is around 75. Well, it is 75 basis points. Most people, and also the industry expect 75 basis points. That's sort of the most common theme, and also Fed employees, and it has been mentioned before, 75 basis points is sort of something reasonable to expect. 50, the minority expects 50 basis points, and really, really few people expect 100, but I don't think we are going to see 100 basis point increase. That would be quite, let's say, have quite a bearish effect, because most people, or generally most market participants, expect a 75 basis point increase. Now, of course, I have no clue what they are going to announce. I think it will be 75, maybe 50, but I think it is in line with what the market would expect. And if the decision will be what the market expects, you would expect a rather neutral outcome. Nevertheless, there will be quite strong short-term volatility in the market. That is normally the case. What you can also expect is that if we in the end get 50 basis points, then it would have probably a rather bullish effect. 75, I think either bullish or neutral, because it is a little bit of a relief when what the market expects actually happens, right? So you could see some upside from there. And I think really only when you see 100 basis points, that is when it would lead to a short-term dump in the market. Would it change the trend in the market? Probably not, maybe short term, but I don't think we're going to see 100. Now, I could be wrong, because I can't look into the future, but it would surprise me. Okay, so I'm looking at 75 or 50. Okay, so what is sort of the scenario here? We continue to stay below the trend line, and as I said in the previous video, we're probably going to head further down as long as we are below this trend line. This trend line is a little bit like it's a little bit like a breakout point. So sometimes you're looking obviously for key points in charts, and when you have a nice trend line that could be defined like that, then this is something where you can look at in terms of the first possible signal that things are changing. Now, we are here, in my view, in a wave 4 to the downside that would be followed by a wave 5 to the upside. So short term, I am still, sort of positioned towards the upside. At least that's my view, that anywhere in this yellow area, which is located between 19,850 and 20,500, between these levels, I expect a reversal of the price to the upside. If we get below that level, that would have quite a bearish effect, I think. But I think we still see more upside here. That is what the Elliott Wave count would suggest. And my view is, or my interpretation is, that we have completed here a wave 1, a wave 2. This here was a wave 3. Not an ideal one, because the wave 3 was a bit too short. So I'm not 100% sure, is this a wave 3 really, or do we still see one more leg up in a wave 3? Could very well be the case. Then the assumption is this is a 4, and we are going to move up in a 5. So short-term upside expected, and there's different ways of counting this from an Elliott Wave point of view, but this is the key support. And an indication that we are going up will be obtained as soon as we get above the B wave high, and the very first indication will be if we break above the trend line, and then that B wave high needs to be taken out, at around 20,830, and confirmation will then be obtained as soon as we break above 21,080 US dollars. But this is sort of the long area, right? The area where you would normally, well, I don't want to say you would normally buy in, but this is the area where you can be positioned long, because this is the support area and the stop loss can be quite nicely be defined. Now, again, there's a couple of possibilities here, or actually more possibilities, but we could say that, yeah, a wave 5 of 3 was finished here at the recent high, yeah, and this is actually the higher degree wave 4, which is coming down here. Another possibility that I sort of touched upon in the previous video, but I think I got confused because I said it's not possible. No, it actually is possible. Yeah, all of this could just be a triangle, A, B, C. The wave D could be ongoing now, and there will be one more wave E down. And that could actually be this white wave 4, which means that this white wave 5 and the wave 3 in green could still happen, and only afterwards we see the wave 4 down. But all of that would also show some short-term upside potential still. Yeah, so all of this still very interesting and leaves still a lot of room, I think, to the upside, as long as we're holding the crucial levels here. In this scenario, yeah, where we would expect that we actually are in a triangle pattern here, yeah, which you can actually quite nicely define here also with that trend line, yeah, nice contracting triangle. You see how we are heading into the apex? You can actually see how we are really moving into this apex. Well, based on that, you know, if we count this as a triangle, then you see we are really heading into the apex here. And this could actually already be the wave D, even though I don't think so. I think we should push a bit higher in D. The most important point is that in a D wave, you need to stay below wave B. Otherwise, you already break out. The key, because I don't know, is this a triangle or not? But if it is a triangle, the key target for the D wave would be the 61.8% extension, and that is at $20,900, already highlighted actually here with this dotted line. So it's just be aware of the pattern, be aware of the trend lines as well. I leave it on the chart, this triangle. Well, no, I might just take it off. I might just take it off. And yeah, in the triangle, further upside expected and overall upside expected, right? But in this wave 4 scenario, we could come down and max out this wave 4 before we move up. So especially in light of tomorrow's expected volatility, yeah, it's good that Bitcoin still has quite a bit of space in this target area, because it would mean that wave 4, which you could say has finished here possibly, right? That this will be reset once more lower due to whatever happens tomorrow. This is possible, and it's a nice example that shows that even if we see short-term volatility, it doesn't necessarily change the trend, it doesn't necessarily change the assumption. But yeah, that's sort of my view here about Bitcoin. So upside expected generally, yeah, at least as long as we're holding here this yellow area. And someone asked me, you know, what happened to the bearish outlook that I gave a couple of weeks ago. So two things to say about that. First of all, charts change every day, and therefore it's important to, you know, not necessarily look at the TA from 2 weeks ago, because the chart makes changes, new price action comes in, and a scenario can change from one day to another. But the most important point is that this scenario is actually still active. Yeah, and we're still waiting for new lower lows. This doesn't necessarily need to happen, as I explained before, just because it is, for me, the most likely scenario, and I would like it. Well, I don't really want to get there, yeah, but it is at the moment for me the most likely scenario, because the chart has failed so far to deliver on bullish promises, on bullish potential, and it hasn't shown enough yet, taking into consideration all the messiness of this previous chart. It hasn't done enough yet to really justify a more bullish viewpoint on this chart. Of course, there is a bullish pattern and a bullish wave count as well available, as highlighted here with the wave 3 that could take us to 30k roughly. Yeah, but it is not the primary expectation. It's just important to understand where are the pivot points, where are the decision points, and the next major decision point on the upside is around the 21.7 to 22k area. Here we are going to see the decision if we are going to flip from a sort of bearish chart context on the daily to a more bullish chart context. Yeah, okay, but that is currently my view. Bear in mind, we're heading into the apex. Whenever you do that, there will be a very, very strong bullish or bearish, doesn't really matter, but it's more volatility, yeah? There will be a volatile, impulsive move that follows this sort of compression. It's a bit like a spring that you're pushing together, as you're pressing, that gets compressed and then released, and then it jumps. So yeah, so short-term upside expected. As a summary, yeah, the breakout points that I mentioned are important. Even if we go to the downside, maybe short-term due to what's going to happen tomorrow, you know, there could be some short-term unpredictable volatility. Bitcoin still has space to drop to 19,850 without invalidating this wave 4 scenario. Okay, and that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.